What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Taurean Rain Reloaded channel. If you are new, please be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also have that bell clicked and your notification set to all so you can be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live. Also, be sure to like, comment, and share this content on your various social media platforms. So today I'm going to be talking about these two dub S's that you see right here on your screen. Their names are Donald Corsi and Howard Hughes. Donald is on the left and Howard is on the right. So where are we headed? We are headed to Florida, and a very familiar part of Florida too. We are headed to Sanford, Florida. Now, anyone who is familiar or has heard that town or that county of Sanford knows that is exactly where George Killerman killed Trayvon Martin. Well, right here, based on a video that has gone viral on social media, you had these two guys right here that verbally and almost physically assaulted this 16-year-old black teenager for, we don't know what the reason was, but he was driving in their neighborhood, and all of a sudden, when you see the video, which when I'm gonna post the link to the video in the description, you can watch it there. They are yelling at him. They're recording his license plate. And if you look at the video, you can see one of his windows is bashed out. I think it's still on the driver's side, like the window is shattered because one of them broke it. I don't know with what item they broke it with, but they broke it and all types of stuff like that. And that's as much as I know right now until I actually found this article that was on Heavy. And y'all know Heavy, they dig a little deeper into cases, and it was posted 3 hours ago at the time of me recording this. I'm recording this it's early in the morning on June 16th. I just happened to wake up, and it was posted June 15th at 11:58 p.m. So it was posted a little bit before midnight. So I'm gonna go ahead and read to you this article. Of course, it's on heavy.com, and it's called 5 Facts That You Need to Know. Donald Eugene Corsi and Howard Oral Hughes, what a middle name, are facing felony charges after a black teen says he was racially profiled and attacked in his car in a neighborhood in Sanford, Florida, the same city where 17-year-old Trayvon Martin was shot and killed by George Killerman, as I call him, in 2012. The 16-year-old boy's father, CJ Jones, posted video and photos of the aftermath of the incident on Facebook on June 14, 2022. Corsi is accused of throwing a large rock, so now we know what shattered the glass, through the window of the boy's car, smashing it while the 16-year-old was in the car. The incident happened on Maple Glen Place in Sanford, where both Corsi and Hughes live. The teen's sister, who wrote Twitter on June 15th, yesterday, my 16-year-old brother was racially profiled in a neighborhood in Sanford, Florida, the same city as Trayvon Martin. Luckily, he had a different fate. I commend my brother for how he reacted in the situation. They tried to throw a brick at his head and missed. Corsi, age 52, and Hughes, age 61. Now look at those ages, 52 and 61, attacking a 16-year-old. But like I said, dub as it doesn't matter the age of the assailant, or it doesn't matter the person that they are going after. They were later arrested, according to Seminole County court records viewed by Heavy. Corsi was charged with weapon offenses, accusing of sending a missile inside a vehicle with a second-degree felony. They were both charged with criminal mischief, accusing them of causing more than $1,000 in damages to property, which is a third-degree felony. Hughes was additionally charged with first-degree misdemeanor battery, touch, or strike. They were released from the Seminole County Jail after posting bond, records show. It was not immediately known if an unidentified woman seen in the video is or could be facing charges. Corsi or Hughes were arrested by the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, records show. An arrest report was not immediately available, and the Sheriff's Office did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the case. Corsi and Hughes have also not commented, and neither had attorneys listed online in court records. The video and their arrest were first highlighted by That Danish Guy. Here's what you need to know about the incident and Donald Corsi and Howard Hughes. So now we're about to get into the 5 facts. The first one says, the video shows Hughes and Corsi yelling at the 16-year-old along with a woman. Hughes can be heard telling him, "Get out of my neighborhood, F-wad," while the woman says, You don't belong here. Now, when you hear stuff like that, you already know what that mindset is. It makes you wonder if this part of Sanford, or if Sanford in general, is a sundown town. Because if you remember back to when George Killerman did what he did to Trayvon Martin, it almost had that same kind of tone. He didn't outright say it like they did it, but it had that same kind of approach of, I see this black kid out here, he looks like he shouldn't be here, so let me just go and attack him, even though the dispatcher told them not to do anything and they would send somebody out there just to see what's going on, and he did it anyway. Looks like the same thing is happening here. It says the video posted by CJ Jones on Facebook, recorded by his son, was taken after he stopped his car, called 911, and got out. The video shows Donald Corsi and Howard Hughes walking around the car and yelling at the boy. Corsi says the boy was burning out and racing through my effing neighborhood while getting in the teen's face. Hughes then also, and let me tell you, that's not unlikely, because sometimes where I live, I hear that kind of stuff too. Not in the residential part of the neighborhood, but you could tell it's in the surrounding area because those engines are so loud. Hughes then also gets in the 16-year-old face and yells, "I told you not to." The boy tells Hughes to get out of his face, and he responds, "I'm not in your face. Get out of my neighborhood, you FY." And he's definitely lying, because he was in his face. If you look at the video, he was in his face. An unidentified woman who was holding up a cell phone also yells at him, "Get out of this neighborhood, get out of this neighborhood, you don't belong here." Earlier, when the boy asked if someone had a gun, the woman could be heard saying, "You are the one who would have a gun." What? Okay. See how she tried to flip it back onto him? It says Jones said on Facebook that police were called to the scene but did not immediately arrest the pair. And if you look at the area that they live in, they look like they got money. Court records show they were later taken into custody on felony charges by the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. Further information about the case from police was not immediately made available. The boy's sister added on Twitter, "Here's what the car looked like afterwards. He had every right to be in that neighborhood. He was going to visit a friend. He did not deserve how nasty he was treated in that video, and now his car is damaged because of pure hatred. Arrests were eventually made, but let's face it, had it been the other way around, my brother would have been in handcuffs before questions were asked." Or worse, they walked around free for a while, hoping justice is served, they lose their jobs and get any other punishments that's coming. The boy said in the video that other neighbors came out to defend the men when police arrived. He said in the video what one of them said, they was like, "Officer, we don't tolerate none of that in our neighborhood," basically saying that I don't belong in their neighborhood. So that was the first fact. Now we're going to move on to the second one. The second one says, Jones said on Facebook, "The two men attempted to kill my son." CJ Jones wrote on Facebook, "These are the pictures of the two men that was racially profiling my son and threw a brick at my son's head. Lucky thing he was moving and the brick landed in the back." Responding to a comment saying the men were out to kill him, Jones replied, "That is exactly what he attempted to do to kill my son." Jones also posted a Facebook Live video from the scene on June 14th when he arrived. Hughes and Corsi can be seen in the background talking to police. Jones said they threw a big old stone through the window of the car while his son was inside. They also hit the car with a traffic cone, Jones said in the video. "Black people cannot stay around here," Jones said in the video. "They gave me a problem when I was coming in my Jeep, plain and simple, racial." In the video, Corsi and Hughes can be seen waving at Jones as he talks about what happened. And now we're on to point number 3, or fact number 3. It says Howard Hughes lives with his wife in Sanford and races cars in Sebring, Florida. It says Howard Hughes lives in Sanford, Florida with his wife in the neighborhood where the incident occurred, public records show. His Facebook page shows that he is an Ironman athlete and race cars in Sebring, Florida and elsewhere. Hughes' profile does not include any information about where he works. Hughes often posts about issues with traffic on highways and roads in Florida. In January, Hughes wrote, "Just a thought, but if a major traffic artery has to be shut down as westbound 408 was this morning, then maybe all the ramps within a few miles of the closure should be blocked so hundreds of additional vehicles aren't added to the cluster. Hashtag brain dead traffic management." In August 2020, Hughes posted a photo of a Banshee 300 MK4 pistol and wrote, "Seriously considering this over an AR-15 for HDW. Unless one of my knowledgeable friends changes my mind. HGW stands for Home Defense Weapon. In the comments on the spot, he wrote, "To me, it seems ideal. High capacity magazine with a round that won't travel to the neighbor's house 2 doors down. Minimal recoil, and you can afford to expend lots of rounds at the range. Train, train, train." Now, if you listen to that, this guy's upset about a person racing allegedly or burning out allegedly in their neighborhood. And this guy tends to dabble in racing himself. And apparently it looks like he dabbles in firearms. And look at the firearms mentioned: a pistol and an AR-15. Just thought that was very interesting that was mentioned. Hughes added, "Current pistol inventory is fine. Looking for something more effective for home defense than a handgun, but manageable for his wife if I am away from home. Eventually moving to the hills and leaving the guarded community behind." Now we're on to fact or point number 4. 4 says, Donald Corsi is married and runs an acoustics installation company. So basically now they're going into the history of these two men. At least with this man that we're talking about, now we know where he works. Don Corsi is married and has a young daughter. According to his wife's Facebook page, he lives in Sanford, Florida, near where the incident occurred. According to public records, Corsi has also lived in Venice, DeBerry, and Orange City, Florida, according to public records. According to his LinkedIn profile, Corsi works for Southern Acoustics Incorporated. The company's website shows that Corsi runs the company with 2 other men who share his last name, possibly his sons. The company was founded in 1988. The Southern Acoustics website says, Florida's finest commercial building contractors and architects have been relying on the acoustic expertise of Southern Acoustics Incorporated since 1988. They have experienced the highest levels of professionalism and team orientation that are key to successful completion of every project. Southern Acoustics Incorporated brings the same dedication to every job regardless of the project scope. Typically among the last in and under tight timelines, the company technicians meet both the time constraints and budgets to deliver satisfactory results time after time. And now we are on to the last point, which is point or fact number 5. Corsi faces up to 15 years in prison, and Hughes faces up to 5 years in prison if found guilty on the felony charges. And y'all can't see it, but on the page that I'm reading from, they show pictures of the inside of the car. There's shattered glass on the seat, and the large brick or stone or what was ever. I'm thinking it's like a regular brick, like maybe a brick that's used for a house. This thing is huge. This brick looks like the piece of the 10 Commandments. It's that big. It's huge. And it looks like, to me, if I'm looking at the picture correctly, yeah, it was thrown through the back window that's behind behind the driver's seat. So it's on the left side, the back left seat. Well, on the left side and the back. Hughes and Corsi were both charged with a felony. According to Seminole County court records, Hughes was released after posting a $2,500 bail. Corsi was released from custody after he posted a $17,000 bond. If convicted of the second-degree felony weapons offense, Corsi could face up to 15 years in prison. Keep in mind those words are up to, not saying that they're going to get it. That just means that it won't exceed past 15, but it could be less than 15. I always have to throw that in there because some people get excited. They could also face a fine. On the third-degree felony charge, Hughes and Corsi could face up to 5 years in prison, Florida State Prison, according to the state law. They could also face fines and probation. Hughes was also charged with a misdemeanor that carries a potential sentence of up to 1 year in jail. It was not immediately known when the two men would be appearing in Seminole County Court. I think there should also be some hate crime charges attached to this as well, because I want to know if they would have done this to a PC 16-year-old. I'm almost guaranteeing probably not. And like I said, how do we know that the 16-year-old was quote unquote burning out in this neighborhood like they claim? What if that was just their excuse? Because remember, the video to me that I saw only showed from the confrontation, not what led up to it. And just looking at the aesthetics of that neighborhood, it looks like it was majority PC that lived there. So he was already hit with or deemed with suspicion. You want to know what this also reminds me of? Remember the situation that happened in South Carolina a couple years ago? I think this was before WoVid, so this might have been around 2019 when you had that black individual, that black guy in that neighborhood, and he got approached by this big tall PC ex or maybe current military personnel for allegedly being suspicious and walking through the neighborhood and allegedly attacking this man's daughter or whatever the case may be. And the people did a pull-up season on him. This kind of reminds me of that. Like I tell you, it may be 2022, but the mindset of 1952, 42, 62, whatever you want to say, that time period, that mindset is still there. It's still very much there. And keep in mind, I did a whole Sundown Town series. I don't think Sanford, Florida was one of them when I got to Florida, because I don't know if it's actually labeled as one. But based on the actions of George Killerman back in 2012 and the actions of these two in 2022, a whole 10 years later, I'm starting to wonder about Sanford, Florida. And to those down in Florida, can y'all let me know, would Sanford, Florida, or have you ever gotten an inkling that Sanford, Florida could possibly be a sundown town? Because it's giving me those vibes. And the thing about it is, this was during the day. It was the day. It was during the day when this happened. It wasn't at night. It was definitely daylight. But like I said, I'm going to post the links to the video, which ironically is attached to the article that I just read. So I might just attach this article all together. You know, it's all there. But yeah, they definitely, that Florida is something else. I'm telling you, that whole state is something. But then again, look at who's running it. Look who's the governor. That tells you all you need to know right there. I bet you if Ron DeSantis got wind of this, or if he gets wind of this, and he might already know, he would probably be applauding these men. If he could give them a handshake and a medal, he would. If he could. But y'all let me know what you think, and that's my take on it.